Hey guys, what is up? It is Blue7 here again, and welcome to another RuneScape 3 vlog here today. This is going to be another one of my weekly update vlogs here. We're going to be talking about the patch notes this week, and this is a really big quality of life week, probably the biggest patch week we've ever had in terms of, weeks without any actual content, but just some nice fixes. And this week has a lot of really nice fixes and changes that we've been anticipating for a while, and I'm really looking forward to discussing them here with you guys. So first things first, we're going to be heading over to the Elite Dungeons area because the main headline of the update are the Elite Dungeon Improvements, and they said these were coming a while back, but they did get delayed. It's good to see them coming finally. One of the main things is, actually, I know this shop is actually here instead of down by the ship. All the Elite Dungeon shops are now one single shop, which is accessible at each of the dungeon locations that they were accessible at normally, which is good because it was a bit confusing with all the different things at each. So if I pull this up, you can see it's a full reward shop for all the dungeons with all those outfits consolidated here, and then the blueprints for the sigils. Everything you can get is now consolidated into one shop here, which is definitely nice to see that. And yeah, glad that they combined them all like this. One thing that they added that people have been waiting for a while, and I already bought it. This is like a second take. I had to redo the video because I had an issue with my recording software, but you are now able to buy the Elite Dungeon chest upgrade for 750k tokens, and this allows you to bank using the chests at any point in the dungeon. So if you're running through, you're a little low on prayer, you reach a checkpoint chest, you can just grab it out and keep going rather than having to leave to the bank and come back, which is nice because people would just leave and bank anyways. So it's nice to have this option to purchase this upgrade and allow you to not have to leave to bank. I like this one a lot. And it also makes it so you don't have to toggle for bosses, as you'll automatically get the double loot chance. So this is really awesome. They teased this, like I said, quite a while ago, so it's nice to see that they have finally come through with it. And definitely I would recommend purchasing this if you do any amount of Elite Dungeons. It is going to be very, very useful. Another thing that I'm not sure why they added, but you can now teleport between the dungeons using the chests outside. I'm not sure why you'd want to do this, but all right, it's decent, I guess. Maybe if before you're maxed, you're able to access one of them more easily, and then you can teleport between them by using the one you can get to most easily. But at the same time, you can just make a group and go there like that. So I don't really understand this one, to be honest. I guess maybe partially because of the fact that previously this teleport option wouldn't say anything. It would just give you like an error, be like you can only teleport while within the dungeon. So they wanted to make it have an actual option, I guess. That would maybe make sense, but just seems like a strange little thing they added. Not complaining about it. Could be useful to someone. You're now also able to place dummies near the chests in Elite Dungeons. I didn't even know this was an issue before, to be honest. I would just always place my dummy on the outside kind of instinctively for some reason. I don't know why, but they've changed that to make it, more accessible. You can just go to the actual boss you want to fight and then place the dummy, which is definitely nice. So glad to see that they've done that. They've reduced the defense of Celestial and Gemstone Dragons in Elite Dungeon 2, which is nice because they had a bit too high defense in my opinion, and honestly unexpected. They rarely do change stuff like that in my experience, but very nice to see that. You can now do Dungeoneering challenges daily challenges by doing an Elite Dungeon or a Shifting Tomb, which is nice if you're already doing Elite Dungeons or anything like that. I don't think Shifting Tombs maybe Shifting Tombs is faster than a small C6, I don't know, but I think a C6 small will be quicker if you just want speed, of course, but now you have that other option. So you can maybe even get like 120 or 200 mil Dungeoneering without ever even going dungeoning in Daemonheim, which is a bit of an interesting thing to think about, but that's pretty nice. One thing that they have also changed is you can now switch lucky charms between the different types, which seems like a nice idea, but done in a really stupid way. So if I go here and I buy, I'm about to go do some, ED1. Actually, no, I'm never gonna go do ED1, so let's not be ridiculous. But I'm gonna go do some Dragonkin Labs. So I buy 4 of these. I get done with my Dragonkin Lab that I wanted to do, and I still have 2 left over. I want to go do some Shadow Reef. Don't feel like buying those. I can convert this to the Shadow Reef. So I want to convert 2. So now we have 2 of each. So it's a nice thing that they added, and I'm glad they added it, but it just seems like it's such a terrible execution. If they wanted to do this, why don't they just make a universal lucky charm, combine them all, and it works in every dungeon? Why do you have to go about switching through them? And this also, affects your bank spaces. It affects your presets. If you have one of, one dungeon that you're doing, but you want to use the same preset for another dungeon, you'll either have to switch the lucky charms after loading your preset and then save your preset back or something like that, rather than just having one single charm that works across all the dungeons. And then if you don't want to use them in a certain dungeon, you just don't bring them with you. I don't understand why they didn't just make them all into one item in the end. Would honestly just be a lot easier for everyone involved, I would assume, but it's still good. Obviously, it's still good that you can use other charms that you might not be wanting to use at certain dungeons in in different ones, but it could be way better if they just made it into one item, in my opinion. So yeah, there's that. And then there's just a few other random things for the elite dungeons, like chat loot messages, identify if your loot went into the chest or not. You can now finally upgrade augmented ports weapons with the upgrade kits. And the spiky rune salvage that seems to be quite a popular drop in the elite dungeons is now noted for you, which is nice. So yeah, awesome bunch of QOL changes and additions for elite dungeons here. Glad I had enough tokens for that elite chest upgrade. I would highly recommend you to save up your tokens for that if you want to do any sort of elite dungeons, and overall just going to make them a bit nicer and more easy to complete. And by easy, I mean easy in terms of, not being a pain in the ass, not in terms of like difficulty. And then next up, we have some Dungeoneering improvements with this huge announcement. You can now solo large dungeons. It's actually crazy that they announced this. They didn't announce this. I was so shocked to see this on the news post this morning. This is insane, obviously, for Ironmen, who have previously been locked to doing medium floors only. Look at that large dungeon available for a solo floor. And pretty great for all players as well. People have been wanting this forever, but they said it could be too much on the server load for creating these larger instances for people if there's a lot of people doing dungeoneering, which I guess makes sense. But apparently they've either resolved that issue or realized it wouldn't be as big an impact as they thought, and they've now allowed people to do solo large dungeons. So I'm looking forward as well to see if people have like speed run things of like how fast can they get through a large dungeon. And I'm just really happy to see this, mainly for my Iron Man. I'm going to be definitely doing large dungeons for my higher end floors, and it's just going to make your XP a bit better, I believe. Either way, I would do it, even if it's technically more XP per hour to do mediums, because it'll reduce the amount of time you'll have to be spending proportionally on shitty rushes that nobody likes. So really, really happy and excited to see this amazing little addition there, Something we've been wanting to see for a long time, and they've actually added solo larges. Awesome. There's also a couple of other things. There's now some indicators within the dungeon. Let's go ahead and join, see if I can see where these are at. Up here in the top left, as you can see, those are some indicators to show if you have used a Dungeoneering lock melter or if you have used an outfit charge within this dungeon. And yeah, that's nice to see. So if you're in a big group, you'll be able to know if they're available or not. And it also shows in the chat when one is used and who uses it, I think. So that's pretty sweet. It's going to be nice to make it easier to, follow what's going on in your larger groups if people aren't able to communicate as much. So I like to see that, or even if you're just trying to remember yourself if you've used them or not in your solo dungeon. I think that's definitely a nice change. Let's go ahead and leave this now. Yeah, nice, and it's in a pretty unobtrusive place, although those red X's are a bit harsh looking. However, I think they turn to like green check marks if they I guess I have some of the outfits, but yeah, if they are used, they show up as like green check marks, I believe. Also in Dungeoneering, you are able to say, "Don't ask me again," in order to skip the ending dungeon screen bit, I believe. And so I think when you click the end dungeon ladder, it will just go straight to the end screen, I believe. So that sounds like it'll be pretty nice. You don't have to press 1 anymore to confirm. And now the end ladder will also open up right when you kill the boss. You don't have to wait for the death animation, and this isn't a huge change, but it'll save a decent, couple seconds every dungeon, which will add up over time. The only one this doesn't apply to is the Skin Weaver, which is like one of the worst bosses in the entire Dungeoneering system. You still have to talk to her to finish that off and open the ladder up. So yeah, nice little thing there. And yeah, pretty much some nice little changes to Dungeoneering. That's the majority of them right there. But mainly the large solos is great, and in my opinion, pretty unexpected to see coming out this week. So pretty sweet there. The last bigger change is they have for some reason, I don't know, it's just kind of random, came out of nowhere. They've updated the Monster Examine spell. So let's switch to Lunars here and get out my like million rune pouches so I can surely wait. Oh my god, you need mind runes for it. What the F? Who the hell has mind runes? Do I have any? Oh, okay, I do have some mind runes. But yeah, I'll go ahead and test this out. Where the heck do I want to go? I'll go to God. What's so organized, aren't I? Let me take my scythe and let's go to whatever my portal is. Barrows. Oh god, I don't want to go to Barrows. Never mind. I was doing some rots, I think. Let's retune to Telos and let's go out into God Wars 2 and check what's up. Because yeah, I'm still on this like streak that I started like weeks ago, and I've just been too lazy to continue it. But yeah, let's go out here into God Wars 2 and see what's this spell look like. So we can cast it on any monster, of course. So we'll cast it on this Saren Mage here, and let's see what it shows up. So they've updated the interface completely. As you can see over here, it now shows you a bunch of different stuff. It shows you the monster's hit chance. Does this not count unless you're in combat with them? Let's take a swing at them. Swing, and now it shows. Okay, so the monster's hit chance on me is 100%. What the F is that? That's not fair. But my hit chance on this monster is 69.3%, and apparently it updates with every attack. So let's turn on Malevolence here, and then if I attack again, you can see my hit chance went up to 76.5%. Then obviously, like if I overloaded, had better gear, stuff like that, it would go up even further. Also shows the monster's life points, their stats like attack, defense, all their attack stats, and the rate at which they attack. You can also check their defensive stuff, such as their armor, your base hit chance against them, which I believe is the affinity value. Oh wait, yeah, if you're using what they're weak to. So this is weak to range. So if I was using arrows specifically, it would have 90 affinity, melee 55, ranged itself is 45, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me because range should be higher because it's weak to arrows. Maybe I'm thinking about it wrong, but I don't know. And then the defense modifier is drained from curses. So a lot more information. Look, it shows you their weakness, poison immune, stun immune, reflect immune, main attack style, max standard hit. Okay, let me kill this thing before it kills me, Jesus. But yeah, overall a much better. Now it's going to go away though as well. Yeah, see, it says deceased actually. It doesn't actually go away. But it won't work on the NPC that respawns and takes its place, of course. But yeah, it just makes it a lot more informative for you and just gives you a lot more. Is this thing going to attack me? All right, I'm out of here. See you guys later. But yeah, it just shows you a whole ton more stuff. It's nice to see, and it could be interesting to test on different monsters to see where you need certain buffs versus not needing them to get more hit chance and stuff like that. Be definitely interesting to see if there's any new discoveries from this, or people can probably make their calculators more accurate that display the hit chance, those ones that people tend to have on like Excel and stuff. In my opinion, honestly, the majority of the Lunar Spellbook could do with some similar love, as I don't think a lot of the spells on here are really used at all anymore, aside from obviously the Venge spells and Disruption Shield are the main ones that come to mind. But there's so many other, and obviously Spellbook Swap, but that's also on Ancients. There's so many other spells on here that are rarely, if ever, used, and I feel like they could, do with some improvements or changes as well, although I'm not sure specifically what they would make different. But yeah. And the fact that also that this spell is specifically on Lunars kind of stinks, because it'll obviously decrease its usefulness as well because of that. You'll likely need a spellbook swap for it if you're maging, and you can't use it at all if you're on normals. So that kind of sucks, honestly. But still, it is a pretty cool little update, and totally out of the blue, out of nowhere. Not sure why they thought to update it, but definitely it was out of date and has definitely a lot more interesting information now. They also added examines to the dig site, which people were very angry about. They didn't have examines on a lot of the new props and various things within the dig site, and they have now. What is this? Oh, there's a hidey hole there? What the heck? So let's see. The main offender, the big offender, was this stupid freaking tent. I hated this tent. It's so ugly. And look at that plank pile, a pile of. So shots fired a little bit there. What were you expecting? Yeah. Oh. Okay. So like most of this stuff still doesn't have examines on it. Very suspicious from Jagex, I must say. Just the plank pile is the only thing that was added. Except for, and then the tent frame, but what about all this other junk? Come on, where's my examines? I'm pissed off again. I don't really care a whole lot, but still I feel like they should add some more than just that. And oh my god, they actually let you climb the stairs. They maybe that was a glitch? Okay, oh sick. So sick, guys. They actually added this floor apparently was already built, and you just weren't allowed to climb the stairs. So now you can climb the stairs. Yay! They actually did it. I'm very proud of them. Very, very nice. Okay, so a couple little additions to the dig site that they didn't have before. And that's everything on the main update page. So huge amount of changes, quality of life, large dungeoneering floors, the elite dungeon chest upgrade, amazing stuff. Really, really great patch week this week. However, there are a couple of semi-important things that were buried in the patch notes, hidden off of the main page for those of you who might not read through all these patch notes. I've done that for you and have picked out the little gems hidden in there that you might want to learn about. So, regular mobs in Elite Dungeon 1 can no longer utilize this ability right here, Smash, because this would actually disable your overhead prayers by some of those random regular mobs, which could potentially be dangerous if you're, not maxed out, or you're not paying attention and you start getting destroyed by other things that are maybe attacking you at the same time, because you tend to go running through that dungeon pretty quickly. And yeah, I'm glad to see that. There's now only 2 mini bosses who can use it, so it's a bit safer in there. And yeah, that was a bit of an annoying thing that they could use that ability and disable your prayers. Also, Siryu's breath attack, which says, I think it says something like Siryu takes a huge breath, something like that. It's now much more accurate, so this will make it a much more reliable resonance, which is usually what people tend to do, is res that attack, and it hits pretty high most of the time, but it can splash quite often. Now hopefully that will not happen, and you'll be able to get a much more reliable resonance off of that, which is very nice. Also, you can now no longer fail stick traps if you have the Tyrannwyn Quiver 3 or 4 equipped. People have been raging about the stick traps for so long now, so they've now made that change. You can now never fail stick traps if you have that quiver equipped. Another thing is, which I'm going to go ahead and waste some of my precious yak pouches to demonstrate, if you summon a familiar of the kind that you already have out, it'll just renew it immediately. So, okay, well, it's already at max timer, so I guess I can't demonstrate this. Damn it. But instead of having to find this little button and push it, you can now just resummon it from the from the pouch itself, and you will get the renewal. So as you can see, like, that's probably what it would have said if I pressed this refresh button. I'm trying to wait for its number to go down by a minute. Let's see if I can do it now. Oh, look at that. See? You just resummon it and it renews the timer like that, which is very nice to see. Nice little convenience change. And lastly, you can now right-click to spellbook swap to different spell books with the magic cape while you have it equipped, rather than it was previously just an activate option while it was equipped. So it makes it a bit easier to swap them if you do have it equipped rather than in your inventory. And that is going to round out the patches for this week. Great quality of life changes and pretty sweet stuff across the board. Main thing I'm honestly excited about is those large solo dungeons. Really looking forward to using those on the Iron Man. And of course, the Elite Dungeon stuff is very nice as well. So yeah, that pretty much covers it for this week, guys. I hope you all did enjoy it. As far as further videos, I'll probably be having, actually the month ahead will probably be out at some point this week, so I'll definitely make a video on that. And we'll have our normal Saturday episode of the Hardcore Iron Man All Collection series coming out as per usual. You guys can look forward to that. Let me know your thoughts on these patches this week in the comments down below. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.